It's 7:43 a.m. Marcus Webb has just opened his laptop. He has 47 unread emails, and he's only about to regret one of them. Last episode, the Blackwater Syndicate knew everything they needed to know about Stack and Sterling's infrastructure, technology stack, people who work there, email address formats, and even had access to Marcus Webb's breach data from 2019. They're done watching. Now, they build their weapon. This is From Zero to Breach, the Attack Files, Episode 2. The door was already open. Most cyber attacks fail not because the technology wasn't good enough or the attacker wasn't skilled enough. They fail because an attacker is impatient. The Black Vaulter group, they're very patient. They don't send a generic phishing email. No, your account has been compromised, click on this link. That's amateur, and those are the kind of things that spam filters and security-aware people can easily catch. What Black Vaulter builds is something entirely different. A spear phishing email, custom, methodical, and well-targeted. It's built specifically for one person, ensuring that they use all the information that they gathered in the reconnaissance phase. They know that Marcus Webb is the IT manager, and they know that Marcus Webb manages Azure. They also know that Marcus Webb has been there for 12 years and likely has elevated access within the network. So here's what the email looks like. It appears to come from IT help desk in Stark and Sterling. The domain name doesn't say starkandsterling.com, it says starkandsterlingit.com with a hyphen in it. This domain was registered by Black Vaulter Group about 3 weeks ago and designed to look like an internal subdomain. The subject line reads, Azure MFA policy update, action required by end of day. Marcus manages Azure, and he knows MFA is real. This is not a suspicious email. This is just Monday. The body of the email references an internal initiative. How did they know this? Well, on LinkedIn, Stark and Sterling posted about a digital transformation they were going through internally that mentioned some of these things. Black Vaulter noted it, and now they're using it. The link inside the email goes to a clone Stack and Sterling's login page. Pixel smart, same color, same layout, designed to look exactly like the real one. The only problem? This site is hosted on a server owned by the Black Vaulter group. If Marcus types his credentials, they'll go straight to the Black Vaulter group. At 7:43 a.m., that email gets sent out to Marcus. At 7:51 a.m., 8 minutes after that email gets sent, Priya notices something weird in their email gateway logs. She notices an email message inbound to Marcus Webb from a domain that she doesn't recognize, stocksandsterlingsit.com. She knows most of their domain names internally, but she doesn't recognize this one. She flags it, writes a quick email to her supervisor. Hey, I saw this come true. Suspicious domain. Do you recognize this? She marks it as medium priority and moves on about her day. Marcus Webb opens the email at 8:06 a.m. The subject line reads, Azure MFA policy update. He sighs, another IT compliance task. He scans the body of the email and it mentions the digital transformation effort internally. He believes it. It looks real. And then he clicks the link. The cloned login page loads, and Marcus enters his email address and password, the same password from the 2019 breach. The page asks for his MFA code. He opens his Authenticator app and enters the 6-digit code. The page reloads and says, thank you for updating your MFA settings. Marcus closes the page and goes on about his day. At 9:14 a.m., Priya's supervisor responds to her flag. This seems like a false positive, but I'll look into it. IT sometimes uses weird subdomains for help desk tools. Priya stares at her response. She still doesn't buy it. Something seems odd. She pulls up domain registration lookup and she looks up this domain name. She finds out that it's registered to a private entity with no information to be displayed. There's still no record of that tracing back to Stacks and Sterling. Before all of this was happening, at 8:07 a.m., 1 minute after Marcus clicked that link, the Black Vaulter group had his credentials and a live MFA token with a 30-second window for the token to expire. And they used it. Let me break down what just happened. There are two things in this story so far that you need to pay attention to. Generic phishing casts a wide net, and it hopes that someone bites. On the other hand, spear phishing is targeted, custom built for one person, using real information about them, their job, their role, all of those things that would make it very believable to them. And the success rate for spear phishing is dramatically higher. The reason being, it's simple. It doesn't look like an attack. It looks just like Monday. Here's what people don't realize about MFA. MFA is great, but it's not a silver bullet. When Black Volta cloned that login page, they weren't just stealing passwords, they were running what's called a real-time phishing proxy. The moment Marcus clicked that link and entered his credentials, that code was relayed live back to Black Volta, who used it to log in. This technique has been used in real-life high-profile attacks. Uber, Twilio, Cloudflare, all of them had MFA, all got breached using this method. And then there's Priya on the other side. 8 months on the job, no title, no senior authority to block anything, but she saw it, she flagged it twice, and she had it dismissed. What most people don't realize is that in many breaches, there's always a Priya moment, a junior analyst, an alert that fired, or something that was mistaken for a false positive. The breach didn't happen because nobody saw it coming, it happened because someone saw it coming and wasn't taken serious. Let's look at what Stack and Sterling could have done to prevent any of these, and any of these approaches would have stopped them or prevented them. Let's look at email authentication protocols. SPF, DKIM, DMARC, all properly configured, would have flagged the suspicious domain, and those emails would have never gotten to Marcus. They are new technologies and are widely available. The problem is they're often misconfigured or not even in place at all. And then we can talk about phishing-resistant MFA. Standard TOTP codes are very vulnerable to replay attacks. MFA like hardware security keys or passkeys are more resistant. If Stack and Sterling had enforced 502, Marcus's click wouldn't have gone anywhere. And organizational culture. These can be in two ways. One of the things that most employees miss is just sending generic phishing emails. Some of the emails are very targeted, such as in spear phishing, and those should be what organizations aim to be able to prevent and make employees aware of preventing. And the culture that listens to someone like Priya. The technical tools didn't fail. Priya reported this twice and suspected that something was up, and then someone didn't listen to her. At 8:07 on that same morning, the Black Volta group had logged into Stack and Sterling's Azure environment using Marcus's web's credentials, and they didn't trigger a single alert. And at 11:32 a.m., 3.5 hours later after Priya's second escalation, her supervisor responds, "Please write this up as an incident ticket. No big deal. Just give it to me by end of week." Priya opens the ticket system. She starts typing and something catches her eye in the authentication logs, a successful login to the Azure portal from an IP address she doesn't recognize. Eastern Europe time, 8:07 a.m. Priya Okonkwo has been at Stack and Sterling for 8 months. She's never escalated an incident. She's never been in a war room, and she's never had to call her CISO at 11 a.m. on a Monday. She picks up the phone. The Black Volta group is in the network. They have valid credentials, and they look exactly like Marcus Webb, and they have been there for 3.5 hours. Remember, this is way out of the ordinary. As I mentioned in the beginning, it takes about an average of 204 days before anyone ever notices. But trust me, you'll hear more about that number again in episode 3 and others. In episode 3, One Click, we'll find out what they did with those credentials once they had them.